I just had an unexpected epiphany. Completely unexpected. And this is thanks to Bruce and William hanging outside of the Allegro at about 12 o'clock at night. They probably shouldn't have been out there. I probably shouldn't have gone out to see what they were doing out there when they shouldn't have been out there. But I did. Oh, it was all good though, you know what I mean? I won't talk about that right now, what we talked about. But I did come back in, and I was thinking about them, and I was thinking about their lives, and I prayed for them. I don't know what their lives are like, but I do know that they shouldn't be outside at 12 o'clock at night on my street. That's all I know. So then it started raining, which when you live off the grid in an Allegro, like I do, when it starts to rain, you can hear it. It pounds on the roof, and I actually really love it. I love the sound of the rain. There's something very comforting about it. When it started raining just now, I started thinking of my people. I got to know a small community of homeless people last fall, and they slept under the overhang of one of the buildings that I managed. When it rains, and I'm not forgetting that, I think about being outside in that rain, or in that frost, or in that whatever it is, because I saw them, and I was there, and I know what it looks like. You know, before that I thought homeless meant to stand on a corner with a sign. I thought I was being charitable to give somebody $1 or whatever, or change. After last fall, I realized homeless doesn't look like that. Homeless looks hopeless. Homeless isn't standing on a corner with a sign. And maybe I'm being cynical. All I know is that the homeless people that I got to know, they weren't standing on any corners. They didn't have any signs. They didn't have any dogs. They weren't pregnant. They weren't standing there for the world to see. Because they were hopeless. Even though they tried to be pseudo-proud, you know, they were ashamed. They weren't standing there for every single person that got off the freeway to see them, to beg. They were hiding. They knew where to get dinner. They knew how to survive outside. But they weren't begging for change. And they weren't hitting you up at Walgreens for $1 on Pacific Avenue. Where obviously, if people were hanging out on Pacific Avenue and asking me for money at Walgreens, like what happened to me yesterday, what happens to me a lot, I don't believe you. Sorry. I know what homeless looks like now. I know the hopelessness and despair and utter sadness that is homeless. And I'm sure there are different levels of homeless. Maybe I am just completely skeptical and cynical of anybody that I guess has the audacity to stand with a sign, or even just to face the world and say, check me out, yo, I'm homeless, give me your money, I'm going to make you feel bad and prey on your guilt. Because I know that if you give me $1, you're going to go on with your life and feel like you did your good act for the day. When really, the homeless people that I know, I hope to find them again someday, they don't want $1, dude. They want a glove. They want some food. Giving money to the homeless people that I knew, they would have asked you for something else. They don't want a fucking $1, okay? $1 buys you drugs, or alcohol or whatever, you know. It doesn't buy you what real homeless people need. So I was thinking about Bruce and William, and then I was thinking about my people, and I was listening to the rain on the tin roof, and I was thinking, what would it be like if I was outside laying on the concrete right now? And on the cardboard boxes, I'll get cardboard boxes and sleep on them. I was just trying to picture what it would be like to be outside right now. And all of a sudden, I don't know why, I started thinking about the Bible, as I do all the time. The meek shall inherit the earth. But what pops up immediately almost, because we're human, right? The meek shall inherit the earth, the poor shall inherit the earth. That almost doesn't seem fair, in a way. You understand on one hand because, okay, they are not as well off. So, you know, from God's point of view, they're not as well off. So, but why? Why are the meek going to inherit the earth? Why do the poor get to be kings? And I all of a sudden realized it. It's because in God's world, if it was God's world, if everyone here actually was living by God's rules, there wouldn't be the meek, there wouldn't be the poor, because let brotherly love continue. Love your neighbor as yourself. If we all lived by the rules that God laid out for us, it means that we would all love everyone. We would all help our brother who is down. We would sacrifice of ourselves to help those in need. If every one of us was loving our neighbor, if every one of us was letting brotherly love continue, there would not be the meek and the poor. If whoever was heading toward meek and poor, if their brother or neighbor turned around and said, let me help you get back up again, they would then, start to raise up. And then when the top fall, it's okay for them too, because it would be an endless cycle of humility, which is what I think I'm going to title this video, instead of an endless cycle or continual cycle of apathy. I looked it up right before I started to record this video, and this is the best image I've ever seen, and it's so true. So, let's see if I can make this work. I'm trying to hold that still. Okay, so hopefully that was long enough for you to see. So it's like a little graph. It says how apathy works. Then here at the bottom, so when we could have done something, is way down here, when we are all screwed. Why? Because here's time, and here's people who give a damn. So in the analogy that I'm trying to make, people who give a damn is God, the creator of the universe, the one who said, let brotherly love continue. Love your neighbor like yourself. Did you know that God set it up so that debts would be forgiven every 7 years? At the end of 7 years, it's all supposed to be straight. That means that the debtor says, it's okay. I'm letting brotherly love continue. I'm loving my neighbor. I'm wiping out debt. How far do you think we are from that? The meek shall inherit the earth, because there was a breakdown in the cycle of humility. Because if we all live by the laws of God, then there would be no poor or weak or meek or whatever, because we would all be turning around and helping. We'd all be paying it forward. We would all be helping to raise each other up. How far from the truth is that? How wide of a gap between, the lowest of the low and the highest of the high? How wide of a gap between middle class and the highest of the high? How many people give a shit about anyone else? How many people instead are apathetic? And the thing is that people who give a damn, that's going up, just as we are all screwed happened like so long ago. That's why the meek shall inherit the earth. They shall inherit the earth because there was a break in the cycle of humility. And they got the shortest short end of the stick ever. Because if we were all following the rules and doing what God told us to do, we would be giving the shirt off of our back. We would be doing anything that we could to help our neighbor, because we would know that if they were in the same position, they would do it for us. And once they're better, that makes us better. The way that God set it up, we're all part of a functioning body, None of us are different from each other. We are all exactly the same. Every single person that you see all day long, you are exactly the same as that person, which is right. Race doesn't matter at all. Status, wealth, authority, nothing matters. We're all exactly the same, and we're supposed to see each other and love each other. The end. If we did that, the meek wouldn't have to inherit the earth, because we would all inherit the earth. So the meek shall inherit the earth. The poor shall rise to the top, because they were never supposed to be there in the first place. If they were down in their luck and they weren't helped, guess who's accountable? The rest of us. The ones with the resources to help. So anyway, that was my huge epiphany just now. We fail the poor anytime we don't help the poor. We fail the meek. We fail the people that are in prison that need help. How many people are locked away that just need mental health help, that maybe even just need freaking health care? We can barely watch out for our own. Our parents, our grandparents. How many people do you know that take in their elderly parents or their grandparents? Everyone. How many nursing homes do you see? You know what I mean? We can't even take care of our own. So let brotherly love continue. Love your neighbor. Are you fucking kidding me? We're too selfish to love our families. So truly the meek shall inherit the earth, and they do deserve it, because they have been failed. Because the cycle always repeats itself. Whoever's on the top today is going to fall tomorrow. It's always going to happen like that. But the way God planned it, there is a safety net. The safety net is that your brother or your neighbor is supposed to turn around and catch you. And if they don't, they fail. Not you for falling. They fail for not catching you. The Bible says a great leader, anybody that is supposed to be a great leader, has to humble themselves, has to give themselves up to the service of the lowest person in their group, in their society, and whatever. So whoever the great leader is, they have to be willing to bend over and wash the feet of the lowest person, to serve the lowest person. If you're not willing to do that, then you're not a great leader. If we want to be a greater person, we just have to look around for someone that's not doing as well as we are and think of how to serve them. I kind of worry that I might have sounded upset or angry throughout this, like I'm angry at whoever's listening. That's not it. I'm angry at myself, I'm not angry at myself. I don't know what I am. I'll just say that. I don't know what I am. I think I was just like ramping up. I think I'm just angry at the state of the world. I'm not even angry. I'm just sad. I'm sad. And I don't like to leave anything sad. So I guess I will leave this instead to say the humility life cycle, if it were in place and utilized, it would be successful. So I suppose I'm making this video to say, yeah, it breaks down all the time, but that doesn't mean that you can't humble yourself for the sake of your brother. Do you know that you could help someone in even the smallest way? And you haven't, for whatever reason, because you're busy. Not even that you're like, I'm not going to help, Next time you have an opportunity, I think that's why I'm making this video. Next time you have an opportunity to help someone that is the meek right now, whether they want to admit it or not, help them. Help them any way you can. Even if you think, a lot of people think they can't help, what could they do? You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Anything helps. A kind word, a call. The smallest of gestures can change someone's life, I believe. At least change their day. And if you can change their day, you never know what kind of reaction you can set off. If you're in a position that you could give somebody else hope in the smallest of ways tomorrow, go for it. Do what you can, even if it's just a little, not out of guilt, out of love. And it will come back to you. It started raining again. That's why I started making this video in the first place. If it hadn't rained, can you hear it? On the metal roof. I love it. If it hadn't been raining, I wouldn't have made this video. So that's very appropriate that I have managed to talk long enough that it's started raining again. It wasn't raining when I started this. I really hope I just said something worthwhile. God, I hope whatever I said, you help come out of my mouth, alright, because I know I was really amped on it before. I don't even know what I just talked about. Well, literally, I feel like I just blanked out. So if there's anything that made any sense, it's pretty much all God, because I'm just gonna say, I don't even know what I said. I'm gonna watch it now. It's almost all gonna be a surprise to me, because now I'm just sitting here like, what the F did I just say? I don't even know what I just said. But that's what God does, He's like, I'm gonna give you a lesson. I'm going to tell you that you're going to get on YouTube and you're going to tell people about it. And you might not get it across quite the way I want, but, do you think the Bible says exactly what I wanted it to? No. So you could just go and be your little human self and mess it up, but the nugget of wisdom will be there if you allow it to be. That's what I'm hoping for. So I just came back to say that and smile for the first time probably in that whole video. Yeah. The God frequency is off. He's like, I'm not taking responsibility for any of what she just said.